because both of us were really open-minded and we try to understand the other.
Henry, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here this morning. I just met you last night for the first time. You were at a book signing.
Exactly, Lance. And thanks to you for giving me this opportunity to be here. It's really good.
Not at all. When I saw you sitting up there doing your sign, I know nothing about your book other than it's a mystery. Am I right?
Yes. Actually, it's the first time I do this kind of signing session. Okay. So that's why it's particularly exciting for me as well. And this book, yes, is actually a spy story.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Just before I get into your life story, basically, let's go through that. I want to tell everybody real quick. Just the name of the book is Code Name Black Phoenix. And make sure you look for this. One thing you need to know, right now it's only in French. But with Chat GPT and all the translation services, you could look at this, you can read in the heartbeat. So don't worry about that. Don't let that deter you from getting this book. And also one more thing is I'm going to be interviewing his co-author as well. And you're going to be able to look and see that podcast. So let's start off with, where were you born?
So I was born in Morocco, in Casablanca. So I'm French, but I was born in Morocco.
Well, I grew up in the 50s and 60s.
Exactly.
And they always had movies, Casablanca and going to Morocco, and that was supposed to be the place to be.
Yeah, actually it's the economic center in Morocco, and it has some good pieces of history. So yes, that's the Casablanca.
And you grew up there?
Yes, I grew up for 5 years.
5 years?
5 years, and after I moved to the United States, New York City, well, New Jersey to be precise, but I went at the French school in New York City during 2 years.
What did your father do?
My father was engineer, building, roads, and he went to Morocco for some opportunity when he was quite young, and my parents there really liked the country. They had a good job and they stayed many years.
Wait, how many siblings do you have? Let's go into that. How many siblings?
I have one brother.
Is he older or younger?
He's older.
How many years difference?
8 years difference.
Oh, so you guys aren't close, or are you?
Yeah, it's not so close because it's difficult with such a difference. But
after 3 years, it's very difficult. If there's more than 3 year gap, unless the parents make you close.
But we have a good connection, and but for sure it's not the complicity you may have with a little difference.
You didn't have any rivalries because he's too old.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. When you looked up, by the time you blinked, he was in college.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're just going. So when you were growing up, you spent most of your life, you said you started off in Morocco, but then you ended up in New Jersey.
Yes.
So how long did you stay in New Jersey?
2 years. 2 years in the United States, and finally I found my way to France.
After the 2 years there, so wait, so I'm thinking you're around 7 years old?
7 years old, arriving in France in the vicinity of Paris.
So you had never been to France, of course, before, other than visiting?
Exactly, during summertime, and but my family comes from Normandy. Yes, and the book actually starts in Normandy.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So you grew up, then you spent the rest of your time in France?
Yes.
So when did you start learning English? When you went to the States, you spoke French because you were at the French school.
Yeah, but of course we started to learn English also. When you're international school abroad, you start to learn the language of the country. And after in the French school in France, you learn also English.
Right.
And after, so I spent many years in France. I didn't move for a while.
How many years is that?
Oh,
were you in your 20s when you left?
Sorry?
Were you in your 20s when you left?
When I left, actually, I would say when I left France in Europe, I was around 23, but it was to go to France overseas.
Which I know you colonized everywhere, just like the English. But I mean, wait just a minute.
In the Indian Ocean, Réunion Island.
Where?
Réunion Island.
Really? That's still colonized by the French?
It's a French territory.
Okay. All right. So you were there.
And you
How
know
far is it?
Réunion Island?
No, I don't know where it is. Where
It
is
was
that?
a desert island when the French arrived there long
So
time
no,
ago.
but actually no one was
No,
on it.
there was no.
It's not like
nobody at that
America.
time. Yeah.
And you guys were Christopher Columbus and say, I've
So-
discovered a place where people already are.
Yeah.
So it's actually
Yes.
an abandoned island. No, I mean, no one
Yeah,
no
it
one's
was
on it.
long time ago.
Where's it located?
Yeah. It's in the south of the Indian Ocean,
Okay.
close to Mauritius.
Right, okay, by the
Yes,
Mauritius.
very
Okay.
close. It's the sister twin island of Mauritius.
But don't you still have, aren't the Mauritius Islands still all part of France?
No, it's an independent state.
Independent, but it used to be.
Yes.
Was it?
For a while,
For sure.
for some years, it used to be French, and after it was British, and yeah.
Okay, so how long did you stay on the island?
So 2 years,
Yes.
in this island,
All right.
and then back to France. And after I had many opportunities to go abroad in different countries.
Then when you left from there, then you went back to France,
Mm-hmm.
and then did you start working at that time? Did you
And
get a job?
so when back from the US, so I was still a kid.
Right,
So of
right.
course, elementary school, middle school, high school, and my studies are about being engineer. But I also went to university to learn Chinese language and civilization. So I had various experience.
So you speak
and,
3 languages: English, French, and Chinese.
Yes, Chinese,
And some
yeah, a few Japanese,
Okay.
but not very good. The kanjis are
The same, basically.
quite okay, thanks to the Chinese. It helps a lot.
Now, the thing that's really noticeable about you, of course, is your mustache.
Mm.
And I also think that's very English and French
Yes.
back in the time.
Mm.
Now, you don't see many people doing that now,
Yes.
do you? Is that a fad now in France, or is it?
Not so much, but for sure you see perhaps more now than 10 years ago.
Is that right?
So yes,
Because I see more beards now.
yes,
than 10 years
there's
before too, as
much
well.
more, not so much, a little bit, but not so much. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, what made you decide to do it? Is
Well,
there a name for that? They have handlebars, right?
Sorry.
We call them handlebars, I think, don't we?
Okay.
I don't know. Is there a name for that kind of
Perhaps.
mustache or something? Maybe not.
I don't know if there is a
Okay.
special name actually, but just I had a beard, a short beard, and I wanted to change a little bit, and so I said, hey, why not? Let's try to do it. And I found it quite fun, and I don't know how long I will keep it, but
That's
yeah,
interesting.
I like it.
That you can do it. You always tend to want the things you can't have. I can get a patch here and a patch here, but I cannot get a full beard. And I get
Yeah,
kind of like a Chinese Fu Manchu here, and that's it.
I understand what you mean.
So it doesn't work. And a little something here.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But I admire that. My father could get a full beard. I'm
Mhm.
not able to. Now tell me a little bit about your book,
Yeah.
Henry. Now, you have a co-author who I'll be interviewing, as I said.
Yes.
What is the book about?
So, well, this book is a great adventure. Both, it is an adventure when you read the story, and it was an adventure also for me. We'll talk later about it. Certainly, it is a spy book. A spy book because you have a global plot. Something's getting wrong about geopolitics, so it sounds very, like the current situation, and one famous secret service have great information, and he needs to share it with other most important secret services on the planet, and it's very rare, but they have an opportunity to cooperate all together because the threat may concern all of the countries of these secret services, and so they have a special cell that is very secret. Even the head of states don't know about it. Only the secret guys. And so they decided to send 2 spies to try to understand what was going on, to find who is the mole, and to fix the problem. So we start like that. They have very few information, and then so it starts in France, in Normandy. But after you visit, you travel a lot because of the story of the challenges they face. They have to move from place to place, and so we hope it's very active, and the 2 spies, you have a man, a woman, so you have also some emotion, and
Okay.
kind of romance also.
It sounds quite interesting.
And not simple romance at all.
Okay.
And you have definitely a lot of action and also geopolitics too. But to present it very simply, try to make it fun, and we'll see how people will like it.
Tell me, Henry, how long did it take for you to do the book?
Actually, the whole process was 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Between we started the conception of the book and the day we signed the contract for publishing the book. So we started 24th of December 2023, and we signed 24th December 2024. So also very symbolic dates.
So this isn't self-published at all.
Sorry?
It's not self-published. You actually went to
Yeah.
a publisher.
Yeah, we have it's
Okay.
Hello Editions, a French
Right.
publishing company.
Okay.
Yes.
So you did the traditional route.
Yes.
Where you went there and you said, okay.
Exactly.
You sold your story to them and they said, we like it.
Exactly.
So we'll put some money behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. So
That is-
6 months really writing,
Yeah.
6 months improving everything in the book, and since so it's been 3 months now. It's all about really the technical part about publishing the book and to make it known by the lecturers and
You
the
said
readers. Sorry.
It's been 3 months.
Yeah, it's been since we signed the
Since you
contract,
signed
and
the
now
contract.
it's 3 months because the official release was the 14th of March.
Right. Wait just a minute. Let me get this right, Henry. You wrote the book first, then you went to the publisher? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I thought you sold them the story.
No, sorry.
Okay,
No.
so you wrote it
Yeah.
first. It
We
took you a
wrote
year.
first.
You took a whole year.
Yeah.
You took a chance. Well, not
Yeah.
a chance. I call it a chance not doing it.
Yeah.
But you actually
Actually,
wrote the
after 9 months and a half, we started to send the script to different publishing companies, and waiting for a positive answer. And we had one from Hello Editions. Yeah. So very exciting
book.
because
Nice, most definitely.
it's my first book. It's not the first for Raquel, so
Okay.
you will
Right.
talk about it with her. But for me, it's particularly exciting. Yes.
How did you two come together?
That's an interesting story also, because it is thanks to a common friend who is an artist, a painter, and Raquel already wrote some books, and she was doing a signing session in the art gallery of this friend. And so I gave a call to my friend, say, oh, there is signing edition, and I say, yes, I saw about it, and I would like to talk to her. So I was in Tokyo, and the signing session was in Paris. And so we had first a phone call. I said, okay, I would like to buy your book. It's not easy, I'm in Tokyo, but we can find a way for me to have the book. And that's the first connection we had through his friend.
How many years ago was that?
It was quite recent, actually, because it was in 2023. So
Okay,
it was,
but still, it had to be at least
few
over
months.
a year because it took you a year to do the book.
a few months, very quickly,
So after
we
you,
decided to write a book together. Very
wait,
quickly.
you must have been the one pitching it. She didn't come
Yeah.
to ask you for anything.
Yeah.
She's the writer.
Yeah, she's the writer.
She's
yeah,
done
yeah.
it. So you had this plan. What made you decide to pick?
Actually, I had no plan at the very beginning. I was giving a call to my friend, and I knew there was a signing session. I said, "Hey, I would like to talk to the writer. Why not?" And we had I would say good feeling. And after I had also opportunity to come to France, and we met with this friend, and it was really something, it sounds like crazy, but very quickly saying, hey, why shouldn't we write the book together? Because I have some ideas. I've never written anything, but I would like to write a book. And she found it interesting to mix her specialty, that is more about romance, and my approach that is more about geopolitics and try to understand how things are going well. But love is always in the center of everything. So we decided to mix it and say, okay, let's go. She was ready for a new adventure about fighting, but differently. I was ready because she was a writer to say, hey, it's the fantastic opportunity for me to. I know nothing about editing companies. I know nothing about this world. So let's go, because she will also help me.
Had you read her book?
And I read one book.
But did you read that before you started pushing this or started talking?
No, the first book I read was the one I bought when I gave that call, because I didn't know about her before. So it was really an opportunity through a friend. And
So you read the book, then you gave the call to your friend. Did you
No. I wrote the book
first
that I bought after the phone call, because she was doing this signing. Right. She was doing. So I'm going to buy your book, and I see how it is.
Right, and then after that, you guys, she came back. She came to France, actually.
Yeah, and I came.
You went to France.
Yeah, I came to France, and I say. And we met also so our common friend, and then in the conversation, and it was just like, hey, why not? Let's do it together. Let's try a new adventure.
So you weren't. How much of that time were you together over that year? Did you ever sit down together and write in the same time, in the same?
Yes. So the way we did it was a real challenge, because we had 10,000 kilometers distance.
Space between, yes.
8 hours time difference in winter time, 7 hours in summertime. So it.
Now, where were you at the time?
So I was in Tokyo. She was in Paris.
Oh,
and we had opportunity to meet. In 1 year, we met perhaps twice, and so we took advantage, of course, when I came to France, or she came also to Japan, and so we had opportunity to work a little bit, being together. So you're getting quicker, of course, when it's like that, but. Otherwise, so most of the time, we were just working on Google Drive, and having phone calls.
Okay, how did you go about matching? Or is this a secret how you went about doing it? Because it's hard to imagine. You couldn't have? Was it chapter by chapter? Was it?
No, it's not a secret. Okay. So as I told you, we have two main characters,
right.
And when you read the book. It's not a narrator that explains you everything. No, you have, each time you read a chapter, it's one character of the book. It's the vision of one character of the book.
Okay, either
so you
he or
move
she.
From one character to another one, and the action that is going on, it's through the eyes of this character. And most of the time, it's either Jay,
the character's name, right?
Male spy, or Victoria, the female spy. Most of it. But sometimes it's also other characters. And so we decided, okay, who do you take to write this part? Of course, I wrote most of the J, and she wrote most of Victoria. And we just conceptualize together. We say, okay, in this chapter, we want to go there, we want to say that. Okay, so let's do it through the eyes of J, you write it. Through the eyes of Victoria, you write it, and after we crossed, we criticized each other, and there were sometimes some storms between us, a lot of rainbows after the storms, but it was challenging also, because of course we didn't really know each other actually, because we met very briefly before. So we discovered each other at the same time, and we have two different personalities. She wants to write very quickly. I want to take my time, because every chapter has to be perfect, because we go to the next one. And so it was two cultures, two worlds, very different.
But both of you are French.
Yes.
Okay,
but
so
still, yes, we had a common language, which is already a good point. But that was really interesting, because my world, professional world, everything is very different from her world. But in the end, it worked. And so we combined both of that. We find it, I think, in the book.
Was there any time ever when you wrote Victoria's part and she wrote Jay's part?
No, but what happened sometimes, for example, she wrote it, and I said, perhaps we could do it better this way. And I wrote...
When she wrote what? She wrote Jay and Victoria?
No, she wrote each time when it was a J chapter part, it was me.
Right.
But after she came on it, she wrote, said, well, no, this way, because it's not enough. Whatever. We should do this or that. Right. She proposed something, and we'll talk about it. And in the end, okay, let's go for this one. And it was the same way when she wrote about Victoria. I was in it saying, perhaps we should do something like that. And so sometimes it was very easy to find the common language, the common words, and sometimes it took more time and more debates to know how to present the action.
That is very
That was
interesting, Henry. The reason that's so interesting to me because the dynamics between people, period.
And the book also, I wrote 99% of the book night time when I had time for the book. So it was, it was not my main activity.
That's what she does.
And
right.
she has a more balanced activity. So also, we had different ways of working on the book. So everything, was different, but really interesting. And also to go in the mind of your partner,
your character, whoever your partner is.
Exactly. And so that's interesting because after you question yourself, you say, okay, why did she say that? Oh yes, she's right actually, and I should. Okay, so it's about the way you work with someone. So it's about methodology, and it's about also really people-to-people interaction. Okay, you can say that, but say it a different way.
Are you two similar in age? Are both of you similar?
No, we have 13 years difference.
In your favor, you're the older. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it helped you any by having a partner before and having the kids through them and having them because it's female?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of things I'm thinking. First of all, she's fast. Because she's done it before.
Yeah.
You've learned to be patient to a certain extent.
Yes.
You want things to be done. So I could see that being one of the biggest conflicts. Because when you're, let's say, for example, you're just doing chapter 1. She's on chapter 5 already.
Yeah.
No,
because she had to.
Yeah, I know. That's hard.
To wait.
That's
and to go back. But sometimes it happens. She say, "Oh, I move a little bit," but we never had more than one chapter difference or something. And after you need to wait for the other.
Was there ever any time during this 1 year period when you thought, "Okay, I'm not going to do this"? Did you ever have any of those times?
Let's say to stop everything.
Yeah,
or
I'm do it on my own. I'll do it. I'm fine.
I think perhaps it happened. No, but 1 minute, just to.
In your mind for a second.
Not more than 1 minute. Yeah. No, if it's like that, we stop. Okay, now let's continue.
That's right.
No, but yes, why did it work? Because both of us were really open-minded, and we tried to understand the other, and so we had a real interaction. So we both worked on ourselves also to know, okay, what should we improve? And I think we also, both of us, we get bigger after this book, also in terms of humanity, I would say, and because we both wanted it, we both wanted to make it happen. We really liked our story, and we had great fun. And we said, we should anyway. We should go to until the end because it's really. We hope it will be a great book, but we had great fun, and also what is really nice is you feel obliged. I would say when you do your book alone, you can say, okay, I do pause for 1 month or something. You
don't know. You don't
it's
know
only
yet.
about
You
yourself.
haven't done a book before. You don't know yet.
Yes.
This is your first book.
Yeah, it's the first. But you say,
right.
okay, no. But what I mean is that, when you're alone, you do whatever you want.
Right,
you don't stop. You stop, but you do a pause.
But you
say, no, I cannot do that.
You had a buddy because you had a buddy.
Exactly.
You have to.
So we had very good incentives, let's say.
Yes.
And so, but in the end, it worked. The alchemy went well, and so we have our baby.
Yes. Well, I think people should make sure you go out and get this because now you know the backstory in a way that no one else will know unless they get to meet Henri and Raquel. Unless you know Henri and Raquel.
Yeah.
Henri, before I end the podcast, there's a question I like to ask all of my guests. If you were to go back in time a year ago, before the book came out,
right,
and give yourself some advice on what you should do, what advice would you give yourself?
To listen better. Your co-author, your partner. I really took a lot from that because sometimes you're blunt when you have some idea and you don't want to go out of it. So it's good to know where you want to go, of course, and to make sure your partner say, no, that's the good idea. We should go this direction. But of course, sometimes you need to alter the course, and perhaps you're not always right. And so I would say, yes, this is a work on myself to say, okay, listen more, and so assess more, just not be on the side, no, I need to convince you see. And but Raquel also has a strong, personality, and so that's why sometimes we had these storms. But I think we had with time more and more rainbows, you see, because we learn from each other. So the advice is from the beginning, okay, take it, assess it, think about it more, and not perhaps react too quickly, too emotionally.
That's right.
That would be the main advice.
Thank you so much, Henri.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And never forget, it's all on loan, so continue to reach for the stars.
Because you're too blessed to be stressed.